hello Galactic family. As we seek to align with the universal flow, it may be helpful to understand how we got to operate from the current world rate, as spheres of the mind come to govern our reality. The mind is an incredible tool. Use this tool to explore the experience of life itself is our human gift, and what sets us apart from the animal kingdom. Our evolution of primal instinct to conscious exploration is the basis for survival. We leave consciousness and go to a higher way of being. It is a vital step in our evolution, and indeed our survival. Evolutionary advances that humanity has made so far can be traced back to our survival needs. Our intuition and our instincts once served to keep us alive, to give us subtle messages at the time rigmos, but with the passage of time have been replaced by a growing mental perception, which was planned for our survival. But as the mind developed, soon mastered the subtle frequency of our intuition. As a direct manifestation of this development, humanity ceased to live in an intuitive state of harmony with nature and with each other, and operating from our inner authority at the time symbolized by was matriarchal to create hierarchical structures, focus around planning, and thus externalizing the authority and reducing our need to rely on intuition every time, which served to separate us from nature and create divisions among us symbolized by patriarchy. The era male and hierarchical structures with which it is associated, often receive a bad name. It separated us from nature that connects us to each other, the earth and ultimately ourselves. And yet, the paradox is that it is the same separation that brought us here, to this level of physical progress, which will serve the next step in our evolution, which is not only to connect us back to our intuitive nature, but to go beyond it. To explore the nature of what is to be alive in physical form while consciously recognize that we are mere expressions of the source of all things. Like a boat at high tide, humanity has reached a point where we can find the highest, the middle, through the direct experience of polarity. And it is through this experience of polarity, the matriarchy to patriarchy, and intuition to mind, that come to integrate the two, bringing together spirit and matter in one thing. Before we are able to live fully in this state, we must first reconnect us to the subtle frequency of our intuition. We are in a position that allow the mind to run the program itself no longer serves more to our evolution. We are beyond that. The mind has brought us to a place where our survival needs no longer need to take priority, ironically, unless we continue to operate from that state directed by the mind which is responsible for the separation of nature and systemic destruction we observe today in the world. But devaluing the mind and return to single intuition state is not the answer to, when our intuition and our minds are connected as one, what we experience is the emotion. If our intuitive survival instincts are governed rejected by the mind, our emotions tend to fear and duality. After all, the role of the mind in our survival is to plan ahead, understand and try to mitigate problems and threats before they happen. But when we learn to trust our intuition to guide us at the moment and using the mind as a creative tool, forward thinking, as a means to explore consciousness and share insights, what we started to experience is the thrill of love and connectivity with our inner state of being. In this journey of awakening, we are learning to live in a state of softness and flow. Only our fear and pain, functions of the mind, is that separate us from the same forces that should dispel them. The inner calm that comes from connection to our internal knowledge and confidence in our intuitive and innate orientation, creates an energetic expression that is smooth and adaptable, however, at the same time, pervasive and powerful, beyond what the mind ever you could realize. The moon does not fight. It does not attack anyone. Do not worry. She does not try to crush the other. She remains on course, but by nature, influences smoothly. What other structure could propel an entire ocean from coast to coast? The moon is true to its nature and its power is never reduced. Ming Dao Deng. The wind of change is blowing over us. To surf in the wind and trust him to take them along. Know that you are always where they should be. Watch and listen. Do not fear the storm, because it is your soul inviting them to reconnect. To live in a state that is beyond the limits of the mind. To transcend the polarity of spirit and matter, and live entirely in your body consciousness with the mind and intuition integrated as one thing. Blessings.